Hello folks and welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out the CJ Simulations Typhoon and it's just started raining. This is real world weather. In fact, it seems very fitting to be showing Anarchy 1, which is the display Typhoon of the RAF Coningsby 617 Squadron. And I was there not long ago, as you probably have seen from my last video. I'd recommend checking it out if you haven't. Pretty awesome. So it seems very fitting to be here to test this out. Now, this is a beta, so please bear that in mind. But we're going to be flying in the 8Kx because an aircraft like this needs an equally awesome headset. And the 8Kx these days is running great. In fact, at the moment, I'm getting 55 frames per second whilst recording with DLSS with Sim Update 11 beta. And yeah, I'm in drone mode at the moment, so you can just sort of see really close, as best I can anyway, because I'm using the 8Kx, I've got it on a very wide field of view, which makes everything very small on the mirror. But in the headset, of course, it looks amazing. So yeah, we're going to take this for a little bit of a spin. The weather is foul today, but that's okay. It'll give us a bit of a challenge. And yeah, there's the air brake, the unmistakable air brake. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be my first impressions. I've got a few things to say about this particular aircraft. So we'll get straight into the cockpit and get this fired up. Okay, so welcome inside the cockpit of this CJ Simulations Typhoon. I must admit, it's a very nice place to be, especially as a modern jet combined with the 8Kx. It's just incredible. I've just made myself a little bit smaller, actually, on the left-hand side of the screen. You don't want to see my face too much. You want to see this bird. And look at the weather today. It's going to be very interesting trying to display this beast in typical British weather. So, yeah, I think we'll make it even more interesting. So we'll just start her up now. Remember, this is the beta. So not everything is modelled, and sounds are, well, we'll talk about sounds in a bit. Batteries, avionics, master is now on. The engine valve for the left and right engine is on. We'll put our strobe lights on. Nav light can come on as well. Now the APU can now fire up. Actually, first of all, Gen 1 and 2 can come on, and then the APU is now live. And we'll just listen to the sound of that, and then I'll get back into the cockpit. It's such a gloomy day today. I'm using DirectX 12, by the way, in case you're wondering. Frame rate is absolutely fantastic. 50 frames per second. And I've got to say, the cockpit, just look at it. It looks amazing. It looks absolutely beautiful. They've done a great job here of really making you feel like you're inside this aircraft. And I've never sat inside a Typhoon in real life, funny enough, but it certainly feels like I am now, that's for sure. Right, APU is now online, so we'll go ahead and start both engines just to save time. Right, anyway, so as you can see here, everything is looking very nice and dandy. The displays here, I mean, you've got your engine information, hydraulics, pressure, waypoint information. We're not going to set a route today because this is the first impressions video, but as I say, we're just going to do a display over the RAF Coningsby area to wow the residents and to wake them up, because it's quite early in the morning when I'm recording this. And just to say, you can change the tie downs and chocks. There is a option here, and you can also add the pilot as well. Yeah, I love with the 8Kx how when you look really far left and right, you don't have to crane your neck so much because you can see because of the wide field of view. Very cool. Right, okay, so the APU has just clicked off. I think we're ready. We are ready to light the afterburner. Well, not quite yet. We have to taxi first. I do like how there's an option for high and low wheel steering as well. That's kind of cool. In fact, I'm going to see if that works, but let's just get it going here. It's always quite an experience in VR in an aircraft like this, I'll tell you that. And for that, it definitely gives you that feeling of being a fighter pilot. Let's just give the spectators a little wave here with the air brake. Well, it's trying to stay on the taxiway. In fact, recently the German Typhoons and Tornadoes were doing an exercise at RAF Waddington, and it was great because there's a little cafe right next to the runway. It's called The Wave. I often go there, and a lot of the pilots would park the Typhoon sort of head on to you and then do a little wave with the air brake, which I thought was very cool. Right, let's just talk a little bit about this add-on and the price. It's going to be £25, and I've got a little bit of a problem with the sounds of this thing because it's actually the default sounds of the F-18 Hornet, and it's something that I noticed straight away. Now, Dean has assured me that the sounds will be updated as part of its update plan, you know, once it's released, but you know, for a £25 add-on, I kind of expected custom sounds, to be honest. They do sound very nice, but they are the F-18 sounds that you'd find in the default sim. And they don't have that particular real raw sound of the Typhoon at full afterburner, and you'll see that right now. So I have to mention that, guys. That is something that I'm not quite happy about, to be honest. I think for £25 it should come with custom sounds as standard, but you will get them sort of down the line. Anyway, right, let's with that being said, you're now going to hear the sounds, and we're going to attempt to do a little display at RAF Coningsby in the Pimax 8Kx with Sim Update 11 Beta. Here we go. Right, things are going to happen very quickly here. And what we're going to do, we're going to go straight into a loop, which the Typhoon is very famous for at air shows. Oh, this feels so good. The thing is, some of these shortcomings and limitations all fall into insignificance in some ways when you're doing this in VR. Oh, I think I've slowed down a bit too much there. Now, you know, I've never flown a Typhoon in real life, so I can't really comment on the flight model too much. But I will say that it does feel very much like I would expect from a Typhoon. Just incredible amounts of power, especially the power to weight ratio of this thing. As soon as you know, light the afterburners, it just goes berserk. It's so manoeuvrable. And we will do some of the display sort of manoeuvres here. This is so good. And I'm locked at the moment, by the way, at 38 frames per second motion reprojection, or smart smoothing. Let's have a look at the vapor. Whoa, wow. This is so much fun. There's no doubt about it, you know, it really is an incredible experience. I just feel that the price is a little bit salty given the lack of custom sounds, but everything else about the aircraft is okay, really. It's good. The cockpit is very nice, the flight model is very nice given the limitations of the sim. The vapor effects are fantastic, look at that. Oh my god, straight into a heavy cloud here. I really do like the afterburner effects as well. That's really cool. Completely don't know where I am now. I'm just gone straight into a cloud. There we go. And I've completely bust the display line. So yeah, I think I definitely won't get the PDA today, that's for sure. Oh, that looks fantastic. Look at that. That is amazing. I think this, I'm not going to harp on about it too much, guys, but I think this with custom sounds will be very, very nice indeed, because as I say, the model is very nice, the textures are up there with the best that I've seen in terms of what I've seen from DC designs anyway, and I believe Dean has been, you know, quite a heavy hand on this model, and it definitely shows. The quality is excellent, the performance is very good as well, and remember guys, this is a preview. So things will get better for the release version. I really like the sound of the the pilot, and which I think is default actually. And just the pressure of the wind in the airframe. Oh wow, in VR, this is so good. This is really an incredible experience. I've said this before, folks, and you've probably missed that on a video, but I actually prefer the Pimax 8Kx these days for Microsoft Flight Simulator over the G2 because it works so well now. You don't need motion reprojection. Sorry, you don't need parallel reprojection. So many acronyms and things you need to remember. Oh, this is fantastic. This feels so good. I am using DLSS at the moment, set to quality. And I will be using the 4090 machine very soon as well. That is on its way. Do you know, I'm not even doing the display properly here because I've busted the display so many times. But what I'm going to do is, on the sort of full release version, we'll do a proper display over RAF Coningsby with the actual manoeuvres from the real Typhoon display as well, and really put it to the test. Let's just go through this shower here because the weather today is very interesting indeed. And there's one thing I love doing with an aircraft of this power, and that is having a play with the clouds. I'm using DirectX 12 at the moment, and yeah, let's just get up to the flight levels now, because this thing, I think, can climb to 30,000 feet, no, 60,000 feet or something crazy in like 90 seconds. It's just so good to be able to fly the actual Anarchy 1 with this livery as well in the sim now. I'm getting 60 frames per second, by the way, now. 60 frames per second, and oh my goodness, look at that. The wheel below you with that canopy is incredible. It really is. Wowzers. You cannot do this in DCS, that's for sure. And even though the price is a little bit steep, in my opinion, you are still getting something very special here, particularly if you like VR. Anyway, let's get back down on the ground again, and I'll just sum up this little preview of the CJ Simulations Typhoon. Just look at that. This sim is just so beautiful. We're so lucky to have an experience like this, we really are. And even though this is not a study level aircraft by any means, the fun factor is still the same as any other fighter jet from DC Designs. They really are killing it right now. And I do feel that, as I say, the fun factor, and if that's what you're looking for, is definitely right there in VR. Look at all those rain effects as well, incredible. And that is Coningsby over there. I'm so down to do this all day today. I am going to be flying the Typhoon all day, apart from the fact I have to edit this video together. But God, this feels so good, it really does. It's funny, you know, because when I do review an aircraft in 2D mode, which I tend to do these days to show you the full detail, I'm never this excited, and the reason is because there's something about VR. It does something to me, folks, and it makes me this giddy, this excited, and it's genuine. It really is genuine. Now, thankfully, the default sounds of the F-18 are very good anyway, so it doesn't sound terrible. I'm not saying that, I just feel that it doesn't have the characteristic you know, deafening sound of that afterburner that the Typhoon is known for. I mean, the rumble of that thing, God, it's just incredible. Okay, so we'll get the angle of attack indicator parked on the end of the runway here. I've only done a handful of landings with this thing, so I'm not expecting it to be very pretty. But we'll give it a go anyway. You know, the weather in this sim is, for me personally, the best thing. It even beats the fact that I can fly anywhere in the world. I just love the fact that you have rain shafts all over the place, and it's just modeled so well. It makes everything else look pretty pathetic. Anyway, let's concentrate now on landing this thing. I'm kind of just doing it by feel here. And there we go. I'll take that. Actually, one thing I do like, it's not twitchy. Especially on the ground, it's not twitchy at all. Okay folks, that completes my preview of the beta of the CJ Simulations Typhoon. I think it's a little bit pricey, especially with the lack of custom sounds, but the model itself is beautiful, it flies great, looks great, and in VR it's all kinds of fun, as you'd expect. Thank you so much for watching as always, I do really appreciate it. Please feel free to subscribe if you got this far, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.